Hello there, Brother Craig here, known as Brother Craig the Hatchet Man on radio. Want to thank the fine folks at the Mayflower Promise. We are celebrating the 400th anniversary of the arrival of the Pilgrims in America. And as founder and president of the First Amendment, Inc., I thought my contribution to this video series commemorating our heritage here in the United States of America of religious freedom. I thought my contribution could be the proper explaining of the First Amendment. I quite often see it, and just to verify, I pulled it up again on Google just prior to making this live video, and it says right there, the 5 freedoms of the First Amendment, okay? And so there are actually 6 freedoms in the First Amendment. And what has happened over the years is that the first 2 have been coalesced into one and given the color of the negative. Now, the First Amendment is really 3 sets of 2, okay? There are 2 things you can think or believe, 2 things you can say, or 2 ways to say it, and 2 things one can do, all right? So now the first 2 things that affect our thoughts or beliefs, that would be religion, okay? So the actual reading of the First Amendment is that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, nor prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging of free speech, or of the press, or of the right of the people to freely assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. So establishment of religion by coalescing the first 2, again, they are 3 sets of 2, okay? So the first 2 have to do with faith in God, all right? And so the establishment of religion, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. We have to understand that the founders were just coming out from under England, where you had the Church of England. You had the state-sanctioned church, and they did not want that here in the United States of America. And so that is all that it meant. And so they also wanted people to be able to freely exercise their faith. And the only way to freely exercise your faith is if the heavy boot of government does not have an established, quote unquote, Church of America, okay? And so what they've done was they've gone from 6 clauses in the First Amendment down to 5 they merged those 2, and then they call it the Establishment Clause, all right? And so totally forgotten is the Free Exercise Clause, which is its own clause. Now, if there are any English teachers out here in the audience, okay, there's even you can prove this by punctuation, all right? Because you have separating clauses 1 and 2, you have a comma, okay? And so those 2 are grouped together because then you have a semicolon, and then you have the next grouping of 2, which deals with speech, all right? And so 1 is the freedom of speech, i.e. as an individual. I, as individual, Brother Craig the Hatchet Man, I can speak, okay? And I've been doing it. The truth is my hatchet. I bring it and I sling it. That's my catchphrase. Now, I, as an organized entity, can speak also, not just as an individual, but I'm free to create a website, which I have done, thereallyrealdeal.com. And that would be the press. The press is not just a newspaper or printed on, as it was back when this was written, actual paper. The press is any entity that is organized to gather facts and information and disseminate that. That is the press, okay? And so the press has gone from pamphlets to radio to television to internet. All of this is the press. And so you have individual speech and you have corporate speech. And again, the 2 are separated by a comma, so this is the next group of 2. The 2 things you can think or believe, the two things or two ways you can express yourself individually or corporately. Then there's a semicolon. Now we move on to the third set, okay? And so the third set are things that we can do, okay? So Congress can make no law preventing the people their right to assemble. And so people think that that means you can go down to the courthouse with some signs and you can protest the government. That's what they call an assembly, a free speech assembly. And people are absolutely correct. That is a free speech assembly. But that is not the only free speech assembly, because it says that Congress shall not repress the people's right of assembly. It didn't say where. It didn't say assembly down at the courthouse steps. We are free to assemble anywhere, okay? We are free to assemble. You know, I'm a member of many, many groups, okay? The Virginia Christian Alliance, the Virginia Watchmen's Council, the First Amendment Inc., okay? The Really Real Deal. I'm a member at churches. I'm a member in many, many places. And what did we do? We assembled there, okay? I own a business. What is a business? That's people assembling for the purpose of commerce. So when doctors assemble a business that is there to give treatment, and a patient goes to that business to seek treatment, that's free enterprise. People are free to assemble in that way. You are free to patronize any doctor, any lawyer, any shoe repairman, any home builder. You are free, okay? The business owner is free to assemble. The person that wants to do business with them, they are free. You're free to attend any church. Any church is free to assemble, okay? The right of the people to assemble is not only limited to holding signs in front of someone who has some bad policy with which you take issue. Now, and the final thing, and again, a comma, so these two are connected, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Now, this one, many of you are not going to like, okay? Lobbyists are constitutionally protected, okay? And so people tend to want to hate lobbyists. I love lobbyists, okay? I love lobbyists the way I love guns, okay? The only thing better than a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. The only thing better than a bad guy who's a lobbyist is a good guy who's a lobbyist. So if you don't like a particular lobbyist, don't hate on lobbying. Hire your own lobbyist to go up against the one that you don't like, okay? And so these are the 6 clauses, each its own standalone clause to the First Amendment to the United States of America. And I am here to tell you people, these 6 things, they touch every aspect of human life in these wonderful United States of America. What a testament to religious liberty that was started on these shores 400 years ago by the Mayflower Pilgrims. God bless you out there. We'll see you next time.